after all the fees were paid, after I paid out the $20,000, my walkaway was again a little over $60,000 and a little under 30 days. Because it's on leased land, there's a process, but ultimately the community management / owner of the community can take ownership of that home. Because I handle real estate sales as well, I have a buyer list that I think I can get somebody interested in it very quickly. It was going to be $8,000 out of my pocket upfront to him, and then he would sign over the bill of sale and additional HCD documentation. All right, so you probably clicked on the video because the title is very enticing. $60,000, 30 days, mobile manufactured home on leased land sale. I don't want this video to be extremely long. It's my first in a while. What I will say is I'll go through a lot of the highlights, and then if you guys have any additional questions, I kind of want to know more of the nitty-gritty details, my social media, my contact information, all of that's going to be included in the description. So you're more than welcome to that, and we can have a conversation off camera. So my name is Jesse. I own Bejarano Property Group. It is a real estate sales team and a manufactured housing dealership. We also do investments in manufactured mobile, real property, things like that. But today's video is going to be on mobile manufactured. A lot of people ask me about it. A lot of people are curious about it. It's an alternative investment, and it's a dark horse of real estate. It's a niche of real estate, and a lot of people don't know the potential it has and things like that. So I do want to go into this story. I do have several others like it, so that's some more of the content I'll bring. But we'll start with this one. So I got a lead from an acquaintance of mine in Fountain Valley. He knew an owner that was a joint owner in a property with his parents, and his parents had actually passed away. They were the ones living in the property. Their son, who I now was going to be meeting, he did not live in the property, and the property got so run down that he wasn't actually interested in doing anything with it. None of the repairs. He wasn't interested in even selling it. He was more so interested in just letting it go and allowing the community to take ownership of it. Because it's on leased land, there's a process, but ultimately the community management / owner of the community can take ownership of that home. Again, it's a process, and I can discuss that in a separate video or again off camera. But anyways, I got to meet him, and we had a conversation, and I said, look, personally, you can make something from it. I can make something from it. You don't have to give it back to the community. We can sell it because because I handle real estate sales as well. I have a buyer list that I think I can get somebody interested in it very quickly. So the deal we inked right away, it was going to be $8,000 out of my pocket upfront to him, and then he would sign over the bill of sale and additional HCD documentation that would basically transfer title to myself. And then an additional $20,000 would be paid out when I successfully sell the home. His total net profit, no fees, no credits, no repairs, no nothing. He was going to make $28,000 from a property that he was just going to let go. And then I would be responsible for the fees with escrow, the fees with HCD, all those things. And I would have a net profit of whatever I decide to sell it for. And then after all my fees, that would be my net. So I reached out to my buyer list, and I had one particular buyer that I knew would be interested. He had actually been looking at some of my other properties in the area. Unfortunately, he had a budget that he wanted to stay within on a monthly basis. And that included a mortgage, that included the monthly space rent, because again, it is leased land, utilities, taxes, and which property taxes on mobile manufactured are very, very minimal. It depends on the year, especially in Orange County. Different counties do it differently. Again, you can ask off camera, or we can go through it in a separate video if there's enough inquiries about it. So, and then insurance additional. So he had a certain budget that he wanted to keep monthly, and unfortunately all my listings would have surpassed that by more than a few $100s. So I gave him a call, and I said, look, these kind of properties in this condition would sell for $120K plus. I'll sell it to you for $90,000. That's going to keep you right under your budget. After we run all the fees and everything, you'll be right under your budget. The caveat is you do have to assume all of the work. I'm not going to handle credits. I'm not going to handle repairs. You're going to assume all of the work. He thought that was a great idea, that he would definitely be interested in pursuing that, as long as, he can look at it and see what kind of work it needed. And so we handled all that within a day. He got even more excited about the opportunity because He knew if he had repaired it and put some upgrades into it, that home would sell very, very well when he looked to sell it in the future. So we opened escrow. We basically got the home under contract, opened escrow. Within 3 days, he had his earnest money deposit over to me. Sorry, not to me, but to escrow. Of course, they handle all the funds and everything. So he had the earnest money deposit in. Within 7 days, he had most of his contingencies removed. The only contingency he kept in place was the loan approval. Within 14 days, he was able to remove the appraisal and the loan approval. We didn't think those would have any issues. And then simultaneously, while you're going through the escrow process and the loan process, you're also trying to get resident approval to live in the community, which is through a standard rental application process. He was able to get that approval within 15 days after opening escrow. By the 24th day, the loan funded. The funds were in escrow, and then the 25th day, we were actually able to close escrow. That was slightly under 30 days, but again, just to round off the title here and make it a little more interesting, $60,000 in 30 days versus in actuality, it was $60,000, $60,112 in 28 days. So 60,000, 30 days sounds better. Let me rewind a little bit. Sorry. So the funds were wired into escrow. Escrow handled disbursements, announced closing. I was able to cut the $20,000 check to the previous owner. He walked away extremely, extremely happy. After all the fees were paid, after I paid out the $20,000, my walk away was again a little over $60,000 and a little under 30 days. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Like I said, I didn't want to make the video very long. If you have any additional questions, there's a lot of that process that I didn't go into. Each process can probably be its own video, so I didn't want to make this a very long video. But if you have any questions, I'm going to leave all my social media and some of my contact information in the description. You're more than welcome to DM me. We can set up a call, whatever the case is. However you want to communicate, we can do that. So, anyways, I heard it's best not to end a video by saying I'm going to end the video, so I'm just going to keep rambling until the video cuts off.